Hello, Otaku for Joshi and Anime Curious. My name is RandomSama613, and this week I'm doing a tag video for Anime Opinions. I was tagged by Miana of Miss Random Badger, and this is a manga tag video. I'm going to go ahead and link her video probably over in this general area, but I'm going to link it somewhere just for your benefit because it was a really good video, so I think you guys should go watch that. So I'll, of course, just as with every other tag video, I'll go ahead and read the question and then I'll answer it. And I will leave all the questions in the description below as well. So, the first question on the manga tag video is, what was my first manga? Well, technically this is a tie, but I only own one of them. So, I'm going to go with the one that I own, and that is Rurouni Kenshin, which is done by Nobuhiro Watsuki. I'm sure this was a lot of people's first manga in the States, because it came out right around 98 here, I want to say. It's probably a little bit earlier before then, but it came out right around then. And everybody was reading this thing. Everybody was reading Kenshin. And it was the first manga that I took a stab at, and I really enjoyed it. And I own all 28 volumes. I've read it multiple times. It gets a little weaker at the end, but it's definitely... It was my first manga. Besides, there's another one that I read that was Fruits Basket. I read Fruits Basket right around the same time, but I don't own Fruits Basket, and I never finished it, so I'm only going to count Kenshin for this one. The second question on this tag video is, what was my most expensive manga I've ever bought? Well, I'm going to count this bad boy as the most expensive, because this was, I'm counting at retail prices. I'm not talking about what I paid for them. So this is probably my most expensive one, and that is Clover, which is, it's the compilation by Clamp. This is the re-release, which I'll talk about later. And I picked it up because I heard a lot of good things about the series. I heard that it was really, really good. I heard that it was just a really good example of a pretty good short-running science fiction anime. Well, manga, rather. And I really enjoyed it, and it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely Clampy. You can kind of tell just from the art on the cover that this is a Clamp manga. And, you know, anybody who's ever seen anything Clamp knows that they have a very distinctive art style. So, that's definitely the most expensive one I ever bought. That was $20 US, which isn't that bad. I mean, if we talk about whole series that I bought at the same time, I bought Biomega recently. That was $60, but just for a single volume, I think that Clover is my most expensive. Number 3 on the list is, what is my least expensive manga I've ever bought? Again, I'm going to go off of retail price, and that would be Gear School, which was published by Dark Horse a while ago, and this was $8 US, which is also how much all the Kenshin novels were at the time as well. Well, manga, rather. So, I think I paid like $2 for this, so it's still the least expensive. And Gear School it's a little steampunk kind of one-shot sort of comic, sort of manga thing. It's full color, actually, I should mention. It's full color. So for a couple dollars, it's actually a really good purchase for me, and I really enjoyed it anyway, so that was well worth it. But yeah, definitely my least expensive was that one. Number 4 on the list is, what is the most boring manga I own? I'd have to say that it is the compilation of the Gundam Wing comic books, Battlefield of the Pacifists. And that might have been because I haven't watched Gundam Wing in years, so I don't remember the source material particularly well. But I found this to be extremely dry and boring, and that just may be a personal thing, but it wasn't very good to me, and it dragged. Number 5 on the list is, what is my favorite manga series? I'm again going off of the ones that I own, and I'm going to go with Black Lagoon. Now, I did watch the anime prior to reading the manga, and, you know, I love the anime a lot. I think it's a really great shonen series. I think that it has a lot of development, and the characters are interesting. And the manga, it actually sticks really closely to the manga. There's not a lot of differences. They change arc order, but that's the only thing that they change. But yeah, my favorite that I own is definitely Black Lagoon. That I don't own, I'd have to think about that one a little bit. I honestly don't know off the top of my head, because there's a lot of manga that I've read that I don't own. So I don't know what my favorite would be for that. Number 6 on the list is, what is the most relatable manga I own? And the answer is, I don't relate to any of my manga that I own. Because I have a lot of very strange shonen manga. I have stuff like Black Lagoon. I have House of Five Leaves, which I really don't relate to. And then I don't relate to Kenshin in any way, per se. I don't relate to any of my manga at all. So I can't really answer this question, unfortunately. Number 7 is, what is one manga that I own that is based off of an anime, not the other way around? I actually have 2 different ones, but I'm going to talk about, I have the FSN, the Fate Stay Night manga, and that one's based off the anime, which is based off a visual novel. So That's the one I own for that. I also own the Scrapped Princess, the full 3-volume run of that manga, but it's based on the anime, but it doesn't have anything to do with it other than it has the same characters and it's based in the same world. So I don't really count that one per se. Number 8 is what is the rarest manga that I own? The answer to that is I own Volume 2 of Lunar Legend Tsukihime, which is not the rarest of all of them, but if you look at the rest of the run, once you hit like Volume 4, it's like $30 for a copy, Volume 5, $30, and then you hit Volume 6, which is $120 for a copy of it used. So Tsukihime had a very, very short run, and the publisher died really fast, so I really want to get the rest of the manga, but I really can't afford to pay for it, so I'd call that my rarest for sure. Number 9 is one of the reprinted manga that I own. Again, I'm going to point to Clover. Clover was not originally printed by Dark Horse. I don't remember who had the original print rights to Clover, but Dark Horse did not have the original rights. So this is a reprint because it's also an omnibus. So it has all of the issues in it. So that's the only like reprint I actually own. I don't have anything else that has been reprinted by a different label. Number 10 is what is the most popular manga that I own? Well, again, I'd have to go with Kenshin, because Kenshin was huge when I originally bought it. And it's still pretty big today, and I think that Kenshin is definitely, I think it's still very popular as far as I'm aware of, unless something changed. And it's definitely the most popular that I own, for sure. Number 11 is what is the most damaged manga that I own? Well, it's the tie between, again, Kenshin Volume 2 and Kenshin Volume 3. I loaned these out to a friend, which I learned was a very bad idea. And they came back, and the cover is actually split on the binding. I don't know if, there it goes, yeah. So it's actually split on the binding. I need to replace volumes 2 and 3. I just haven't had the money and the time to do it yet, even though they're fairly inexpensive. So that's the most damaged one I own. Other than that, everything just has a little bit of corner shelf wear, because I carry these in my backpack for a while, so they all have a little bit of wear on their edges. Like I can show you with Clover. I just have a little bit of wear, like right around there. You can't see it very well. It doesn't pick up, but it's just a little worn from being in a backpack. That's it. Otherwise. Number 12 is which manga has the most amazing art? Of the ones I own, this was actually kind of tricky. I went with Ghost Talker's Daydream, which you've probably never heard of. But I think that the art, like I'm just going to show you, here's some of the art. It looks gorgeous. This is some of the background imaging that they did, and it looks fantastic. So this is also not an all ages manga. This is definitely an 18+ manga, but it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. And the art's gorgeous, and I think that it got canceled before it got finished, which is really annoying. Number 13 is what is the oldest manga that I own. Once again, we're going back to Kenshin because this was originally published in '92, which is the year after I was born. So this is definitely the oldest one I own. There was another one that there was a tie for. I thought it might have been older, and it's not. I don't remember what it is on my shelf. But this is definitely the oldest one that I own, is Kenshin, for sure. Number 14 is what is the newest published manga that I own. I'm also going to tie this in with number 15 and what is the recent manga that you bought. And that's Monster Musume Volume 2. This was published for the US back in January of this year, 2014. So it is the newest manga that I own. And I've been reading Monster Musume for a while. I've been reading it monthly as it comes out. And I really enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's schlocky, it's ecchi, it's a harem manga, but it's still really enjoyable because they do it with mythical monster girls. So you get, like, this one's a harpy. So you get a little bit of everything, and it's really, really funny, and I think it's great. I really greatly enjoy it. So those are my choices for manga. Now I have to choose who I'm going to tag. I will say right now that I didn't write down a list, so I'm going to kind of make this up off the top of my head. I'm going to tag Jonas of Corey Anime / Corey Gaming, Valmar Wings of Valmar Wings, Ray and Orishina of Spoiler Alert Podcast, Lou of Sitting by the Window Anime Reviews, and finally I'm going to tag Hanase of 7 Pocky. So tag you guys are all it. And go ahead. This was actually a really fun tag for me. It wasn't too hard because I own a decent amount of manga, but not a lot, so I wasn't spoiled for choice. But what were some of your guys' favorite manga growing up or stuff like that? Your choices possibly for a tag video. Go ahead and do your own if you'd like, or you can leave some comments down below. But until next time, I've been Random Sama 613. This has been Anime Opinions, and until then, watch more anime.